Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sobriety and Everything Else. I am your host, Eric Andrew from Eric Andrew Coaching, and I am coming to you recorded from my studios in my dining room. Yes, in my dining room. So anyway, first off, I want to wish everybody a happy and healthy new year. I hope that whether it's Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festival of Lights, whatever it might be that you are celebrating, I hope it's been great. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, and I hope that the blessings of the holiday season are upon you at this point. And maybe, just maybe, you might be able to find a little bit of gratitude for yourself in all of this and see the things around you that are important. Okay, so a couple of things. One, obviously, this will be my last episode before the new year. So again, happy new year to everybody. I hope it's a wonderful one. Secondly, you can reach me at ericandrewcoaching12.gmail.com. I'm sorry, let me say that again. ericandrewcoaching12@gmail.com. At gmail.com. All right. Or you can go to my website, ericandrewcoaching.com. There you go. So the email is ericandrewcoaching12@gmail.com. Or you can go to the website, ericandrewcoaching.com. Either way. Probably the email might be the best way if you're wanting to get a hold of me quickly, because I usually am checking emails quite frequently. The website, so often I do get email alerts if something comes in. So feel free to use both, but certainly the email process would be the easiest. Secondly, obviously it's the holidays, and I've given you a lot of positives about the holidays just now and wishing you happy, happy, happy. But sometimes it's not always happy, happy, happy for a lot of us. Many of us struggle through the holidays, whether it's because of our addictions, maybe it's because of mental health. Obviously, addiction is part of the mental health world. So if you're struggling with anything and you are feeling really low and really down and you don't feel like there's any way out, please dial 988. It's a suicide hotline. They can help you and get you some quick help so you can start on the road to recovery for mental illness. All right. And there's nothing wrong with having issues with mental health. Nothing wrong with it. It does not make you a bad person. It does not make you odd or different. There are many, many people that struggle with high anxiety, depression, bipolar, addiction, which usually carries one of those with it. So please don't feel embarrassed for reaching out for help. If you don't want to reach out to the hotline, then please reach out to a friend or a family member. Talk to them, have a conversation with them, be honest with them, be authentic, be real, be vulnerable. This is your health. This is your mental health. You are trying to get better, and you're not going to get better if you're hiding things from people. One of the biggest things we learn in addiction is that our hiding was what caused our problems. Trying to act like that everything was good on the outside when everything wasn't so good on the inside. And this is where a lot of people get into trouble. So please, if you are struggling, whether it's with your addiction or it's a mental health issue, or maybe it's a combination of all of that, which is all mental health, please reach out for help. Family member, friend, me, if you want to text me or email me, please feel free to email me. Reach out. Go to a meeting if you're a person that goes to meetings. Get yourself to a meeting. Get yourself around people. Talk. Open up. Let people know that you're struggling so they can help you. Okay? There's nothing wrong for asking for help. Like I said, it's one of the biggest things that we learn in sobriety. Ask for help. Which reminds me, one of the things that I've heard today that kind of dovetails into what I want to talk about is this idea. Johann Hari said this, and I think it's genius, right? The opposite of addiction is connection. And I think the opposite of everything is connection, so the opposite of mental health, the opposite of loneliness, the opposite of anxiety, the opposite of all of that is connection. Does that mean that you need to go and be the center of a party and all of that kind of stuff. No, it doesn't mean that at all. But connecting to somebody that you care about, somebody that you trust, somebody that can be of help and service to you, reach out to them. That could be somebody that that you don't have a lot of connection with. Maybe you haven't talked to them a lot. Maybe it's somebody that you trust, though, somebody that has that empathy, that can listen. What most of us really need is listening, right? So please, if you're struggling, please, 988 is a hotline for suicide prevention. Or if you are struggling with the ideation of suicide, certainly reaching out to people is a big part of the process as well. So please do that. All right. Don't find yourself sitting there alone and struggling. We all want to be there in this world of sobriety, in this world of mental health, world of addiction. We are all here to help. We want to pay it forward. So much has been given to me on this journey, and I want to be helpful to others. So please feel free. All right. With that being said, I just want to double check my notes. So what I want to talk about today and spend a little bit of time with as we're going into the new year is this idea, and I see this with a lot of new people into the world of sobriety. And maybe, again, you might be sitting here watching this and you are just sober curious. You're not quite sure if this is where you want to be or what you want to do. And you may have heard stories of people on what they call a pink cloud, or feeling really good about things. Or maybe you've heard somebody talk and say, oh, it's so wonderful to be in sobriety. And honestly, you know what? I say that. And I do believe that it is better to be sober. My life has been so much better overall than it ever was when I was out there actively abusing alcohol. Now, does that mean that my whole life is perfect and that my whole life has been great since I stopped drinking and everything has gone wonderfully and I have, no complaints and nothing bad happening? No, not at all. Bad things still happen. Tough things still happen. Disappointments still happen. It's life. And one of the things that you hear in the rooms of AA, and I love this term, and I don't think it's just should be an AA term. It could be any term, but this concept of life on life's terms. That's what we signed up for when we were born into this world. Life on life's terms. We don't get to decide how things are going to happen. It'd be great if we did. I mean, how many of us would like that? And in fact, that's probably why a lot of us suffer, because we try so hard to control everything. We want everything to be perfect. Like we have this picture in our brain of what perfect is for each and every event or each and every person that's in our life. But rarely does it ever work out that way. Rarely. So we have to kind of embrace this idea of life on life's terms. Kind of surrender to that a bit and realize that, I don't control every moment of the world. I am not the puppeteer here. I'm not God, if you want to call him God, or Source, or, whatever, Muhammad, the Buddha, whatever you might think, or whatever you think might be God, or somebody, some supreme being that is controlling everything. Whatever you think it is, we are not that. We are, in my humble opinion, this is my belief, we are energy, we are light, we are essence. That is what our spirit is. That, me talking to you and whatever my animation might be on here, however I look at you or how I sound or whatever, that's my essence. It's not this thing, this flesh and stuff that you see. This is the vehicle that I get to use here on this earth. But my essence and my spirit is what you hear. And that's what, when you speak and when you talk and when you are with people, that is what people fall in love with. That is what people care about. And if you don't believe that, think about what it is you cared about with somebody who's not here anymore. Maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a grandparent, maybe it's a good friend, maybe it's an aunt or uncle. Maybe it's a loved one, somebody that you were in a relationship with that's not here anymore. What is it that you loved about them? You might say, well, their eyes, their smile, the way they talk, the way they did this, the way they did that. All of that is part of who they are, their essence. This is why I always find myself very interested in and attracted to people's smile and their eyes, because I really think it's in that we see the true them, the true person. The rest of it, the working out and making our bodies look, and I go to the gym. I love the gym. I think the gym is a great place to be. I love to hike. I love to do yoga. I love all of that. And I want to be in the best possible shape that I can be in with this body to keep it going as long as I can keep it going. But that's just an outside ornament. That's not who I am. My essence is who I am. So that is what this is all about. Is when we look at life on life's terms, we have to realize that we have to deal with and accept what's in front of us. And sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's not so good, right? So I think sometimes the fantasy of sobriety is this idea that, all I got to do is stop whatever it is, drinking. That's really what this podcast is about, is drinking. But it could be using, whatever. It could be a combination of all of that. If I can just stop those things, my life will be so much better. Where it gets better is in this idea that you will be clear-headed to solve the problems of the day. So if you got to pay your bills, you'll be paying them on time and be worrying about making sure you're going to work every day so you get a paycheck so you can pay the bills, right? When you were active, maybe you didn't go to work every day. Maybe you got fired from jobs because you didn't go to work every day. Maybe you forgot to pay a bill and the electric got shut off before you finally realized, I'm 2 months behind on my bills. Maybe you're not good at saving money when you're actively using and drinking because all your money is going towards whatever your drug of choice might be. Excuse me. So that is what you get to do better. You get to do better the things that are required to survive in this world. Unfortunately, to live in a nice house or a house at all, to have electricity, to have the internet so I can do this, I got to pay for it. And how am I going to pay for it? Well, I got to go to work and I got to show up every day and I got to do the best job I can do and I got to be consistent, right? That requires effort, right? Are there days I don't want to go to work? Absolutely. I'm not unlike anybody else, and there are bad days. There are days that I don't want to be at work. There are days where things happen that I don't like happening, but they do. And in fact, I'm going to share with you a couple of things when I talk about life on life's terms. So here we are in the holiday time period. I had a situation happen at work. I'm a teacher, and I had a situation happen at work where I did not report something quick enough within the structure of the day. So I did report it, but I waited. And unfortunately, I waited on a situation where, unbeknownst to me, and that could be on me, not on them, but unbeknownst to me, that there was already a kind of a red light situation with this individual student. And so everything that happened that might be kind of about that needed to be reported immediately. And I didn't do that. So when I did report it, and it was dealt with and moved on and everything else, I ended up getting written up for it because I didn't report it soon enough. And that was the day before our holiday break. So the Friday where we had just a half a day was the day I got written up. Now, I could have looked at that as a really horrible thing and a bad thing, and it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it certainly isn't going to cost me my job. I've been there a long time, and this is the first time I've ever had anything like this happen. So it's almost, and even the administrator that did it said, this is just something that we have to do, that will be, that will be part of the file, your file, and also the file at work in regards to this particular student. And that's probably about all it's going to be. It's not going to be anything big. It's not going to be any big problem, and I don't suspect that it will go further than that. I really don't. But it was something that I had to deal with. And it was something that, in my days of drinking would have sent me into orbit. And I was frustrated about it. But what I decided was, what did I want to talk about in the meeting that I knew I was going to have? So I made a decision about what I wanted to bring up, about how I did not know what was going on. I wanted to talk about accountability and consistency, because I didn't feel like there was a lot of that going on, that here I am, getting written up when there's so many other things that have happened where there's kind of this, almost nonchalant towards those situations. So I got to voice my opinion, and that was something that was really a big part of my recovery, was learning how to speak up for myself. So I felt great about the fact that I did that, and that I was given the opportunity to do that by the administrator, which was also great. This particular administrator is actually very good about allowing you to have space to bring up what your concerns are, which is, I totally appreciate that, because I do work with other administrators that will not allow for that. So, which is a struggle and difficult and shouldn't be that way, but it is. So then I go into, and right around the same time, I have some eye issues. I have been having these eye issues for 20 some odd years. I was diagnosed 20 some odd years ago with glaucoma. I've had surgeries on my eyes for it and everything else. Now, before everybody kind of goes, oh my God, I can see 20/20 now. I don't have issues in terms of seeing things. I do have to have reading glasses. You've seen me put them on a few times to read things, but who doesn't at 61 years old have reading problems in terms of their eyesight? Just part of getting older. So it's not horrible bad, but it's a management issue. So right before actually that Friday, so that Thursday night, I had to go to the doctor, and my eye pressures were high, and they had to do a laser treatment on my eyes and wanted me back a week later, which is a day after Christmas. So again, I could have went into orbit, and certainly I started to spiral a bit Thursday night and thought, oh my gosh, all this stuff is going on right here at the holidays. Why is this happening? I have family coming in, all this other stuff. And then I kind of just found myself grounding myself and taking a breath and stepping back and using my tools that I've learned in sobriety, which is to create space, give myself a chance to kind of, okay, where am I at? Why am I feeling this way? What is causing me to feel this way? Why do I have this anxiety going on? And a lot of it was control. I didn't have control over these issues. And I realized, well, but of course you don't have control, because there is no control to have. You don't have control over how your eyes are reacting to whatever it is that they are doing or not doing. You don't have control over what happened at school and at your job with and what's going to take place with that administrator. You have no control. So you have to go into these things with the idea of accepting them for what they are. Again, accepting them on life's terms. So whatever life is about to hand me, I've got to deal with it. I've got to accept it for what it is and deal with it and move forward in solving that problem, whatever that might be that I need to solve. That is what sobriety is for me, is learning how to handle life and deal with life on the terms that it is. Sometimes what's given to me is beautiful and wonderful, and I enjoy it, and there's a grace that I have and gratitude I have towards the fact that I have it. And then there's times when it's a struggle and when it's hard and when I have to go through the hard things and I have to go through the hard stuff. But I know from my own journey that I've been able to do that and be able to get through the hard stuff. So you can do that too. So just be careful when you're looking at sobriety. Go into it with an eye-opening idea that I am about to go into something that's going to allow me to function in a clear-headed way and deal with life on life's terms. That's what I want to be able to do. And that is really the gift of sobriety, allowing you to deal with life on life's terms, right? And I'll leave you here with this. So if you're sitting there and again, you're on the fence and you're thinking about oh, well, if that's what it is, then I don't want any part of it. My thought would be, if that's where your head is, then keep going. Do what you're doing, keep drinking, using, whatever it is, because there's going to come a point where you're going to get tired of it all. uh, and you'll make a different choice. But right now you're just not ready, and that's okay if you're not ready. But also understand the only thing that was promised to us was life, and how we decide to deal with it is the choice that we have. So many of us chose alcohol or drugs or something to get us away from the hard things. Whenever we had hard, tough emotions to deal with or hard, tough things to handle, what did we do? We picked up a drink. We went to the bar. We, used a drug, to get a euphoria or a feeling that was very different than what we had. And that allowed us to escape what was happening. Now, think about it. Even in that escape, does that take away the problem? No. And what does it give you that you now have to add into the problem? Well, if you're drinking, probably what it gives you is a hangover, or feeling really cruddy the next day, or not so clear-headed, maybe a little foggy, and you still have to deal with the problem. But now you're dealing with the problem with all of those symptoms on top of it, versus going home, trying to get some sleep and some rest, and allow yourself to create space to think about the problem, to think about what the choices are in front of you that you can have, and then making a choice that makes sense in dealing with the issue that's in front of you. That's what the promise of sobriety is. All right. So with that said, I would like to leave you again with a happy new year. And I want to just kind of tease a little bit here. My plan coming in the new year is I am going to have a guest, at least one, maybe a few. We're going to start with one. My hope is that if things go well, that it might be towards the end of January, first part of February, that you'll see this guest. This guest is somebody who I wanted to bring on and talk to you about, because I have mentioned to you before that I am a fairly new yogi, and this individual has her own business and runs retreats in places like Costa Rica and everything, and she's also a recovering alcoholic. So I really felt like it would be great to bring her on, because I think it would be fun to talk to you guys about the idea of how different activities can play a role in our sobriety, and how they can help us move forward and maybe connect into those spaces where we can solve problems, where we can get a better sense of who we are in all of this. I know for me, in my journey, one of the things I realized was I had lost sense of me. I had lost sense of who I was and how I connected. And I lost sense of my body. We have our minds and we have our body, and I lost sense of that. And what yoga has done for me is bring both of those together, the mind and the body, along with mindfulness training and meditation. All of that has played a huge role for me. So I really feel like I would like to share that with you guys. It might be a little bit longer episode, maybe about 40 minutes or so, but I think it's going to be great. So I'm really looking forward to that with all of you. And with all of that said, Happy New Year to everybody. I hope it's a great one. And I hope whatever you're thinking will be the things you're looking to do in the new year will come to fruition for you, and you will start on that. And maybe, for some of you, maybe it'll just be sobriety. All right, everybody. Take care. Talk to you soon.